What is going on to the two people that are in here, Biker Boy and of course Hillary? Good to see both of you. YouTube is still giving us fits. Come on, guys. Uh, Nick's here. Yeah, apparently for some reason, even though I set it up, hey, there's John. Even though I set it up for 8 o'clock, somehow it got scheduled for 10 Central, 11 East. There we go. People are starting to roll in here. We're going to give it a couple minutes here to get everybody rolling in here because, as I said, everything got messed up. Hey, by the way, it's gone. It is gone. So, let me, while we're giving people some time to go ahead and load up in here. I mean, we're already up to 23. So, I want to say congratulations to Rob Dahm for making 1,000 horsepower with a $60,000 motor. Could have bought 10 LSs and made 10,000 horsepower, but he decided to take the hard route out and make 1,000. Oh, Jim, hate to hear that, man. Yeah, no more hippie hair. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it literally. Nick, I'm not ever shaving my head again. I tell you, literally, it feels so weird. I mean, it feels so weird. Here, let's do this. I don't even know where to stop. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for stopping by. Stick around if you got a chance. Hold on. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's get the new patrons out of the way. Then we can roll out, get down to business, talk about tuning. Thank you, everybody, as always, for stopping by the #1 tuning live show in the entire universe. Thanks to our sponsors, Nitrous Express, ADM Performance, Snow Performance, all those guys. So, who we got? We got Phil, we got Demonic, we got Katie, and we got Matthew, the new patrons for this week. And it is Thursday, Friday here in the garage, and so we are drinking some 6 Point Brewery Atomic Res. Stay away from this stuff. Trust me. Just stay away from it. I don't know if this will focus in there, but it's 11.8% alcohol by volume. Anthony says, because of my new haircut, we're going to get a lot more subscribers. Ross asks a good question. And Ross has never owned a rotary. He says, why was Rob Dahm using two-stroke oil in his gas? That's because a rotary, you have to have oil in your gas. Normally on a factory rotary, you have oil injection that will inject a little bit of oil into your rotary housing to lubricate it. Yeah, it's always going to be smoky on a rotary. I had an FD myself back in the day, way before Rob Dahm was ever popular. So they burn oil. It is just known that you have to add oil. They burn oil much like a diesel burns DEF nowadays. Because if you didn't, the apex seals would seize up and you would lose compression. Michael Breakall says, is Mrs. Goat happy? That's what's important. She was a little bit surprised because I did not tell her I was going to do it. John says, pulled my 5.3 apart. Looks like cottage cheese in the lifter about. Oh, John, I'm crying for you, brother. Hate to hear it. Hate to hear it, man. Ugh. Fahad, welcome. Appreciate you joining us for the first time live. Thank you for your support. Ah, Josh, screw you. Matt says, I'm in need of some assistance with LIN bus commands for steering wheel controls from 2014 Plus Silverado. Steering wheel controls on the 2014 Plus, Matt, are not LIN bus. So they are a different style communication between the steering wheels and the gauge cluster. If your gauge cluster is not one that is designed for steering wheel commands, it will not work. That's just not something that you can get around. You would have to do what I did and replace it with a gauge cluster that has the color DIC on it. And if you're going to do that, you might as well go over to the Denali gauge cluster. Shane says, you ever get random bugs after flashing a new tune? I get a ton of knock first drive after a flash and then 0 after that. Any fixes? Shane, I mean, there is a couple things that happen after flashing a new tune that can cause things like that. One of them is make sure and reset your long-term fuel trims. If for some reason you have numbers in your long-term fuel trims, they will carry over because they are stored in a different section of memory. So if you were to go out and you were running lean beforehand and then you dialed in your tune and then you put a new flash in, you could be running even more lean. Other than that, double check the injector tip temperature table. Search for that. If you search for injector tip temperature, you will find some news. Normally that causes you to run rich though. Scuba Sam did the same thing, chopped all the hair off without the girlfriend. I'm telling you, man, it feels weird because if you go back, literally we've been doing this for about a year now. And that's whenever I cut my hair off again and then started growing it back out. And so you could go back for the last year and watch my videos and literally watch my hair grow. Maybe I should do a compilation video of my hair growing out. Oh, by the way, while we're getting started here, we do have a drawing tonight. We are giving away a Autel A60 OBD2 digital gauge. Go ahead and start that drawing out now. Anthony, yes, did a compression test recently. 176 to 181 across the board. You're good to go, brother. That's plenty of compression. Well, Steelers 743 says, shame the RX had an unreliable rotary. There is no such thing as a reliable rotary. The shame is that they brought out a motor that was just underpowered for the lineage because everything before that was more powerful than that. Oh, good Lord, the raffle spams. Hey, Francisco. Thank you for tuning in, brother. I appreciate it. Danny Z says, do you know anything about adjusting EOI timing for a cam to reduce fuel from running out the exhaust? Yeah, I mean, Danny, you need to be able to look at the timing of the cam, look at your exhaust open period, at what degrees they're at, and you need to calculate the crankshaft angle versus that to cut off your EOI to keep from running fuel out of the exhaust. I need to do a video on this, but it is so in-depth because you're talking about a lot of different angles. You're talking about cam angle, you're talking about crank angle, things like that. But nonetheless, yes. Hey, Zeth, I did not give you a shout out yet. I enjoyed your new video, by the way. Biker Boy says, I can't figure out how to get my computer to read my wideband. Sometimes it'll work, most times not. Try redoing groundwork for a day, then stopped, updated everything. Can't get to work anymore. Oh, man, I know you've been fighting this thing. Let me ask you this, Biker Boy. Have you changed your serial to USB connector out yet? Any recommendations on running only on map speed density Gen 3 with the big cam? Not really, Francisco. I mean, you just got to get it dialed in. I mean, it's totally plausible. As I said, you got to look at most aftermarket setups are running what is considered map only, speed density only is basically what it boils down to. So my only recommendation is it just takes time. Dialing in a volumetric efficiency table is the longest, most tedious process of doing tuning. So just take your time, get it sorted out. I'm sorry, Shane, I missed your first post. Let me scroll back up here because you're talking about knock. You ever get random? Oh, okay. So you're getting random knock after doing a flash. Talking to at least 10 degrees at 2 to 4,000 RPMs, 6 to 8 air mass every single time I get in that range. Hey, double check and make sure that you don't have burst knock enabled, Shane. Look for the burst knock table underneath your spark table and zero out your burst knock because burst knock will do weird stuff that's not necessarily true knock. John's Jungle says, any advice to get an engine builder to quit taking his sweet time and finish motor? Yeah, John, take him a 12-pack of beer. Oh my goodness, look at Budget Outlaws here. Budget Outlaws, thank you for joining the live stream. Budget Outlaws is one of our first YouTube members. That's why he's got a green name tag with a wrench beside it. That's sweet, bro. I appreciate it. It's $2 a month. If you have any interest in joining, I mean, honestly, you're not going to get a whole lot of stuff. I'm going to put out some early videos for the membership, but for $2 a month, you get the cool green name tag with a decal or an icon beside it. After the first month, you get the Goat Rope Garage logo beside it. That's sweet, though, Budget Outlaws. I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you supporting the channel, man. I'm so far behind. Sierra, hello. Welcome to the channel. Kev, yes. Welcome to the live stream, Kev. Kev was asking earlier about logging fuel error, AFR or EQ error, and having PE enabled. And the big thing about that is, Kev, whenever you have a wideband, it will read the differential, and PE will actually affect your commanded AFR EQ. So whenever you're running at idle or cruise or something like that, and it's commanding 1 on your EQ, whenever you go into PE, you'll see it drop down to 0.85 because your commanded will actually change and your wideband will follow that error. It will, correctly calculate the error whenever you are in PE. So with a wideband, you can leave PE enabled and get proper. Hey, thank you, Zeth. You can get proper tuning with a wideband. With using narrow bands, you can't do that. That's why people talk about disabling PE. That's because they're trying to tune with their narrow bands. And it is very, very dangerous because you are talking about going wide open throttle without power enrichment. On a naturally aspirated setup, it's not a big ordeal. But on anything that is power enrichment and stuff like that, you will you will run into the chance of detonation and damage. Zeth is just showing off now. He's got 2 wrenches. Yeah, Biker Boy, I would suggest getting a new 232 to USB converter. I mean, they're like $8 on Amazon. Hillary asks, what would you say is your favorite part of HP tuners to the Holley? I'll be honest. Thank you, everybody that's signing up for memberships. I do appreciate it. And as I said, if you make it a full month, you will get the Goat Rope Garage logo as your thing. And it shows up on whenever you start posting. Sorry, Hillary, let me get back to your question. My favorite part about HP tuners is that there is a lot more stuff that you can do as far as, one, I love the mass airflow sensor. Most standalone ECUs do not support mass airflow sensors. They're going to be speed density, so they'll be volumetric efficiency, or they will be straight up like pounds per hour fuel versus airflow, or what's the other one? Somebody help me out. What's delta? Not delta A, but alpha N. Alpha N, which is RPMs versus throttle position, things like that. Mass airflow is very, very good whenever you are doing wide open throttle pulls because it's very, very smooth, good fuel delivery, It's not the best for transitional kind of fuel delivery. So on top of that, there's a lot more adjustments on things like timing table that you can choose to use underneath HP tuners on the factory ECMs that you're not going to necessarily have options on the Holley stuff. Some of the other standalone stuff you'll have options for, but you have to pay more money. So if you were to look at the Terminator versus the Dominator, Terminator is going to cost you about $1,000. The Dominator is going to cost you about $2,000. The Dominator has a lot more custom tables where you can do a lot of the stuff that you can do in HP tuners that you couldn't necessarily do on the Terminator. But that being said, about everything that you want to do, you can do on the Terminator. So Eve's dropping, Evan's dropping drag. Sorry, Evan. Holy shit! I just lost everything here. Let me scroll back up here. Where you at, Evan? Where was your question? Evan's drop and drag. Any info on scaling for bigger injectors, ones that max out the injector table? The easiest way, Evan, is to cut your injector flow rate in half and double your stoich table. Shane, burst knockoff, stack knockoff, way ahead of you. What's your, Shane, what is your, do you have any kind of exhaust mods? Francisco asks, is there is a way to decrease time for nitro only on top RPMs to avoid dealing with 2 PCMs? No. Not really, man. To be honest, you need, well, yeah, you're going to have a controller for your nitrous that actually has the ability to read things like throttle position and RPMs, or you have to have a standalone. The only other way that you could probably do this, Francisco, that would be the easiest way to do it, was to go into something where you can edit timing on shifts and have it pull additional timing on shifts. Yes, thank you everybody who signed up as members. Appreciate it. As I said, I'm going to try and do some member videos. I do some for the Patreon guys over there. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon, honestly, I'll probably do away with the lower tier of Patreon and just keep the $15 tier for the guys that want the email support. And then anybody that wants just to support the channel and have access, like early access to videos and stuff like that, I'll do that through the YouTube. It's $2 a month. Mr. JLAINEZ Jelaniez. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Have you ever tried tuning for lean bird mode? No. Here we're a performance channel. Lean bird mode's not about performance, it's about miles per gallons. Man, we really don't do that. 92 LSC kid. Yes, I have more than one member. Thank you, brother. Hillary, with that being said, would you recommend one over the other? It depends on the platform. If you are actually chasing pure horsepower and you want ease of tunability, specifically on a Gen 3 or Gen 4, I would totally recommend the Holley. If you're looking at a Gen 5, I would probably stick with HP tuners. Even on Gen 4, for the most part, I would stick with HP tuners based on if you are on an E67 platform that gives you the overhead on injectors. Michael says, I know I need a stall converter, but any tips on helping when coming to a stop? She gets into ABS when coming to the stop. Kind of sketchy. Yeah, Michael, quit making so much horsepower. Is that the answer you're looking for? You can actually, based on your platform, there's some, Michael, I mean, help me out, man. I know that I've dealt with you multiple times in the past, but give me some input on what platform you're on, because if you're on a Gen 4, 4.5, or 5, you could, there's some things that you could do to actually cut power whenever you're coming to a stop. Hey, Emerson. I have a problem with the car's PCM where it's not showing misfires even when I unplugged the wire from the coil I changed out to the CPS. I'm going to try wiring next. What do you recommend after? Dude, your problem is so weird, Emerson. Like, you're not showing misfires whenever you unplug the wire, but you're showing misfires on other random stuff. Hey, Riley. Hey, Brian. Man, Emerson, you got to have a mechanical issue going on, brother. There's got to be something going on. Try swapping your coils around if you haven't already. PCM, I missed your question. Man, guys, I'm sorry. I'm missing so many questions tonight because I'm getting way too off into the weeds. What'd you ask, PCM? Jeremy says, hey, I finally got my Gym 5 to idle nice, but this weekend in the process to bring up my torque table, my trans starts shifting harsh so much that whoa! You snapped your 8L90 input on the highway, 5 to 6 wide open throttle. Jeremy, did you change anything on your trans torque management? Riley says, question, is there any reason why I shouldn't run lean at idle and cruise to improve gas mileage? Maybe. I don't know, man. Run 14.7, just be safe. A325 Sonoma. Hey, Jimmy H. Hey, One Fast Daddy. Okay, PCM Cobra, doing the LY6 6L90E swap in a C10. I'm almost all in on the 6L90E and stock ECM, or dump the 6L90E and go 4L80E and a Holley. What's your end goal, PCM? Because that's what it's going to boil down to. Biker Boy says, my second question, is there a table in the E40 that at a certain ECT will limit throttle? Honestly, I'm not that familiar with the E40s. I would have to go and look at them, but I would not be surprised if there is not something that will limit power delivery based on ECTs. Is it going away at a certain temperature, Biker Boy? DAMK says, what's the best way to learn to tune in Lambda? Start tuning in Lambda and realize that one Lambda is stoic for every single fuel you burn. 8.5 is generally going to be your power enrichment goal unless you're running some serious forced induction. That's it, man. It's easy. Don't make it any harder than it has to be. Hey, Paul. Kyle says, have you looked at Weatherman Sean right up on EFI Live to tune the map in the same log? No, I have not. I'd be interested to check that out, though, Kyle. I'll have to look it up. Because technically you would have to have a way of disabling dynamic airflow, which you can't necessarily do in HP tuners. Just to raise hell. Well, PCM, if you're just wanting to raise hell, well, if you're wanting to do an LSA in the future, I mean, you'll be fine with the 6L90. It'll support both of those platforms. I'd stick with the factory one. No reason to get crazy on it. If you're not going to be strictly racing it, 6L's fine. If you're wanting to take it down the drag strip and make serious times, 4L80 is going to be the way to go. Michael, E67 Envoy, Stock Trans 6.0 Big Cam, old lady won't let me spend the money on 4L80 converter. E67, I don't know, you're taxing my brain tonight on that one, Michael. Because it's not a torque-based platform. Lower your timing at idle. See if that helps. I know that you want to have a lot of advance because you've got a big cam on it. What kind of advance are you running on your cam? Because that's probably what's overpowering your converter. Americo asks, is there any way to change the AFR to Lambda in the Holley Terminator screen? No, and it's BS, brother. I hate it. Makes me mad. And it's going to be a pain in the butt whenever we go to tune E85 on Project Country Club, but we will touch on that topic here soon and how to properly do it. But I'll be honest with you, it is going to make everybody's life a pain in the butt, and there's no reason, because I'll be honest with you, Americo, that wideband sensor is a Bosch 4.9. It reads in Lambda. They are converting it to AFR. There's no reason why they would not just bring it in as Lambda. In fact, that reminds me, I need to call up Holley and yell at him a little bit for that one. Nick asks, how do you know when to bring on power enrichment? Nick, honestly, that is dependent on whether or not you're going to be forced induction. Basically, I like to say that if you're forced induction, I like to bring on power enrichment a little bit before you start crossing over the threshold into boost. On a non-power enrichment based platform, on not a non-boosted platform like a normally aspirated platform, I might bring it on. I like to bring it on later on, and I like to try and keep it as late as possible before you start possibly seeing knock in the transitional range between, say, 3,000 and 5,000 RPMs. So if I can hold off PE until $4,000, I want to hold off PE until $4,000, because lean burn technically is going to produce a little bit more power. And on top of it, you don't need to ramp into PE as quick on normally aspirated. But whenever you are on a boosted platform, specifically if you're on a supercharged platform, a positive displacement supercharged platform, you need to get into power enrichment very early, because you are cranking up the cylinder pressure so quick that you want to have that extra fuel in there to help keep cylinder temperatures under control. Wow, Jeremy, that's crazy, man. And you haven't touched any trans torque management, because there is a lot of torque management in the trans, but at the same time, that is based off of your torque tune, your virtual torque tables. If your virtual torque tables get too far out of whack, it will allow you to shift at full torque, which will put a lot of shock on the drivetrain. Anthony asks, have you ever tuned anything with the 3.5 EcoBoost? I don't think I've done the 3.5. I've done some EcoBoost. What's the smaller one? Is there a 2.7 or something like that? Jeremy, what's your mods that you're getting 379 max engine torque? Because it's probably not accurate. Oh, well, thank you, Zeth. Appreciate the smoky burnout. In fact, I meant to throw something else out there instead of the smoky burnout, but you guys are going to have to wait because it was snowy this week. There's going to be a replacement for the smoky burnout here soon. Yeah, the 2.7. I've done a little bit of playing around with the 2.7 EcoBoost. Tom Henderson says Gen 360 cam only 4L80 bucking fourth gear. Added timing till knock, then back to down. Smooth timing table. Okay. Shift timing could be that, Tom. Are you getting, what kind of bucking are you getting? Does it feel like it's bouncing off a rev limiter? Does it feel like it's bucking after it shifts into fifth? No, third to fifth. What kind of bucking? Explain the bucking. The bucking is going to be the thing that we need to dig down onto there, Tom. By the way, we do have a raffle going right now. If you have not, it is for a All-Tool A60 digital OBD2 gauge. It's a pretty slick little gauge. Nothing too fancy. It's about $40 on Amazon, but I used it in part of diagnosing the CAN bus for finding, literally, I used it to find the fuel percentage, so I could jack that signal and bring it into the digital dash. I mean, yeah, Zev has a good point. It could be lockup going in and out, so check your TCC tables. Oh, well, Jeremy, come on now. You didn't say that you were running a Whipple at 12 psi. Welcome to the world of making too much horsepower, Jeremy. I will tell you this, though, Jeremy. On that setup, 870 is still probably more torque than you're actually making. And the problem could be that, as I said, your transmission torque management is based on your virtual torque tables. And if you have that dialed up too much to the point where you're not actually producing the amount of torque, then the engine is not going to pull enough power during a shift. And so you probably had a hard shift. And that's something to keep an eye on. Biker boy, man, you've got something funky going on there, brother. Unplug the battery. Doesn't go away till you unplug the battery. Typically starts around 200, which is operating temp. But sometimes you get limited 40% throttle from start. That doesn't sound like an ECT table, man. Are you throwing any kind of DTCs? Hillary asks, is there such a thing as too much horsepower? No. I mean, there is such a thing as you're going to break something, and it's just finding out what you're going to break next, upgrading that, which then in turn will break something else, which then you upgrade that, then which in turn you break something else. It is a constant battle of figuring out what you're going to break next. Feels like the engine is violently stuttering. Don't know how else to explain it. It does only happen when converter is locked. Could it be that you're not getting enough pressure to the torque converter to lock up properly? Yeah, that's like Fast Daddy said. It sounds like converter chatter. Tom, see if you can up your converter lock pressure. See if that helps. Dave Thole says K5 Blazer LS swap. Is it important to keep the knock sensors in play? I mean, Dave, it is what it is. Yes, because the knock sensors will save your motor. I would never suggest doing away with the knock sensors, to be honest with you. Yeah, Jeremy, the thing about it is, though, it commanded over 900 to 1,100 pounds on the logs. I can make a Chevy Cruze, request 1,000 foot-pounds on the logs. So that you have to realize that all circles back to volumetric efficiency and having that table set up properly, which then goes into the calculation for torque. So don't weigh too much into the actual torque readings on that stuff. Just know that you need to have volumetric efficiency dialed in, your virtual VE table dialed in properly. That's the only thing you've got, Biker Boy, is a TCM malfunction code. VJ, I have not seen the new Texas Speed Cam. BFD Chop Monster. I'd be anxious to see the specs and see if the specs are actually worthwhile, or whether or not it's just something that makes your car shake itself to death. Yeah, Tom, no problem, man. That's a couple things to check. Check that out. If that does not help, come back next Thursday. We'll keep on throwing some ideas at you, man. That's the nice thing about Thursday nights. I don't have to answer that many questions. Running map only now, trying to dial it in. Still had issues running map only, Jeremy. Hmm. I don't know, man. That's an interesting situation. That's really weird that you broke that because that's not a piece that I hear people breaking. Nick says, I'm switching from a 292 to a 345 rear diff and a slightly shorter rear tire on my G8. What do I need to alter? Use the wizard, Nick. So, use the gear and trans wizard. Put in your new gear. Put in your new tire diameter. And it will update your shift and RPM speeds. But you may have to go in after the fact. Or you could use the Bluetooth one. Jeremy, is $15 a month, man. Check out the Patreon. Go to GoatRoadGarage.com. There's a link at the top. I think my website still works. I haven't even been to my own website in a while. My website still works. Click the little thing up in the butt. Click Patreon. $15 a month. Get your email to me. DAMK, could you use cat over temp as anti-lag for a turbo car? I don't think so. Has anybody else tried that? I don't know that cat over temp would... I mean, because literally to get anti-lag, you have to be able to set a certain RPM set point. Then you have to retard a lot of timing. I don't know that you can do that on a factory PCM for a GM. Some of the other platforms you can do things like that without running an aftermarket one, but honestly, I think Lingenfelter has a two-step or an anti-lag that you can plug in that will do what you need to do. Apparently the raffle is up. Okay. I'm going to give it here, I'll give it a couple minutes, then we'll pick a winner. Got some good questions coming through here. You guys, anybody in here that doesn't follow me on Instagram? Did you see the new meat for the Super Auto? 315s. I don't even know if they'll fit, but I've got a cutoff wheel, right? I'm going to try and get them mounted up today. I'll tell you what we got going, not today, but this weekend. Tomorrow, I'm getting up early to get a mother bottle so I can fill my own nitrous bottles. I'll be doing a video on doing that. Then I've got to pick up the Project Country Club from getting emissions inspected. We'll see how that goes. And then we will be shooting a video whenever we mount the meats on the 10-inch, the 15x10 wheels for Project Super Auto. I'm going over to my buddy Justin's house. We're going to, yeah, exactly, Moon Tuned. We're going to make them fit. I don't think it'll be an issue because I don't have leaf springs, but we're going to go over to Justin's house to look at his race bikes. He's got a couple bikes he runs down low sevens, maybe in the sixes. Interesting. Jeff says Holley is selling an OBD2 dongle that turns off AFM. Kev, I got the Mickey Thompson ST Streets, maybe. It's not the ones with the treads. It's just the one with the slots in them. They're 315, blah, 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 15s. Into MB wide open throttle box, bought it for my CTSV and want to put it on my Silverado. Is it possible with the 4L80? I don't know what the Into MB box is. S10 Issues answers a great question. Didn't A1 Bravo do some kind of launch control using the temp sensor? Yes. There is people that go out there and they have a temp sensor breakout box that looks where you can basically hold a button and it defaults the temp sensor to -40, and you can set the timing in those tables. In fact, one of the guys that developed that is the guy that has that really sweet LSA. Well, now it's a LS4 XLR. If you've seen that one, the one that everybody links me on Instagram, that black one that has the race stars on it, that guy actually is the guy that developed the breakout box for nitrous, so you could run nitrous on the factory and pull tuning. Whenever you hit your nitrous button, it sends a signal to your IAT table and shifts the IAT table all the way down to the bottom row, and that way you can set that bottom row up for your nitrous timing table. So that would probably work for a two-step box as long as you're willing to hold RPMs yourself. Yeah, Matt. Glad you got them. Anybody else is waiting on their stickers and koozies? And the guys that won shirts, I don't know if any of those guys are in here. Those shirts went out in the mail. Michael Breakall, you are the winner of the gauge. Congratulations, Michael Breakall. Go ahead and send me a email to the info@goatropegarage.com email. With your address on it. And I will get you, I will get shipped out to you. And while we're at it here, just for fun, we're going to go ahead and start another drawing here. Should pop up any second now. We're going to give away a Goat Rope Garage t-shirt right now. You got 10 minutes. It is 8:42. At 8:52, the raffle will close. Kyle Needham says, IAT can be done with a relay. Sensor grounded makes it -40. Good info, Kyle. Thank you. A lot of raffle spam here. Christopher says, what if you use a neutral trend signal to the ECU and use it like to? Well, I don't know if that'd work, because normally you're going to be in gear whenever you're trying to two-step. Matt, I do not know if there is. I will look into that. Matt asks, is there a way to hide the raffle comments? I will look into that for next week's stream. DAMK says, know of a place to get the factory GM harness plugs. Well, the first place I always start out, DAMK, is on Google. Plug in the number there. See if it will show up. If it doesn't, check out Mauser. Mauser, right? That's where I get most of my stuff. Brandon, welcome to the family, brother. But honestly, I generally just search Google, go to the shopping tab, and see where I can find that plug number. If you get the actual plug number. Now, if you don't have the plug number, DAMK, it can be a little bit hard to find the one that you're looking for. But your best bet is to spend the $20 to get the 3-day access to the factory diagrams through TDS Tech Connect, through AC Delco. You can pull it up. There will literally, you can find the list of every pinout, every plug, and it will give you the service plug part number. The service plug part number is the one that you want to look for. And do your research, because you may find it for $30 over here, and you may find it for $3 on something like eBay. Hey, Scuba Sam, I'm thinking very hard about switching Project Country Club over to Alpha N just to play with it. So keep your eyes peeled. We might dive into a little bit of Alpha N just for fun. Josh asks, is there any way I can use winter windshield washer fluid in my air-to-water intercooler until the temps warm up? I feel like antifreeze is going to be... Yeah, I mean, that stuff's basically 20 to 30% ethanol, methanol. I don't see why not. I don't know that the chemical compound on it, Josh, is going to extract heat as efficiently, but in the winter months, it should not be an issue. Biker Ball, I don't know if your PCM is necessarily bad, but on your platform, your PCMs are probably cheap enough to try one out. Just to double check. Nick says, can I switch my EM 300300 to output in Lambda? Yeah. No, it will change both the display and the output on the 300300. You would be surprised that there is plenty of cars that actually run Alpha N as a main fuel control strategy. In fact, I think some of the early Hondas did. Jeremy says, do you still do more detailed tunes as far as sending logs to you? Jeremy, I mean, honestly, for the detail stuff, I do remote tuning, or I do the one-on-one sessions every month where you can sign up for that and we can dive specifically into your logs. But if I'm being 100% obvious or honest, the $15 is the best option because I mean, you know, other than on the weekends, I get a little bit slow because I'm shooting a lot of videos, stuff like that. About any question that you ask me on the $15 tier on the Patreon stuff, I will give you an answer, help you out, get you sorted out. Because that's basically what it boils down to is like I am here. The big difference between the $15 and the $75 is that some of the guys like to be able to do the one-on-ones where we actually sit here, talk through the different steps. It's a little bit easier for them to digest the information. And of course, as I said, the remote tune is for people that just don't want to deal with it. Like I've got a guy right now that I'm doing a remote tune for in Iceland who's got one of the baddest vehicles I've ever seen. It's got an LSA in a Range Rover with Dana 60s with 38-inch tires on it. The guy just wants a tune, and the tune that he paid somebody to do for him was absolutely garbage. And, you know, it made me happy, but also broke my heart because we got his math dialed in this week, and it was breaking the tires loose on 38-inch tires. And he's like, it's never done that before. And I was like, that's how bad your tune was. So it's all about what level of support that you want. But honestly, the $15 a month support level will get you most everything if you are willing to do the work. Now, I'm not going to do the work for you at $15 a month. I'm going to help you along. But ask. There's plenty of $15 patrons in here that will tell you exactly what kind of support you can get at that level, whether or not it'll help you out. Matt is right. The 300300 has a gauge face that is flippable. And as I said, whenever you switch it over to Lambda on the 300300, the output on the serial changes over to Lambda. Oh, damn, Biker Boy, you got an SPS? Try reflashing the one that you've got in there already. See if that helps, because you might have a corrupted piece of crap in there. Matt Landon, do me a favor, email me separately, because talking about Limbus on here could get a little bit out of control. Danny Z says to use Alpha N, is that usually a standalone ECM thing? Yeah, nowadays it is. Alpha N used to be an older style before they came out with things like mass airflow. S10 Issue says, any chance you would want to do a video on Gen 3 Terran's amp fueling? Perhaps show how to spot issues on the log in the video. I would like to do that, S10. I don't have access to Gen 3, but at the same time, I would like to probably get with Lowbuck. If you guys have not checked out Lowbuck, I'm surprised Randy's not on here tonight. I would be better off probably explaining to him how to sort through some of those issues and let him make a video. Just because I really don't have access to a Gen 3, and it's not that I don't necessarily have access. I don't have time to dive deep into the Gen 3 platform like I'd want to. Thank you, Eric Simpson. Have a smoky burnout. I appreciate your support, brother. SS Research says, can you recommend me a good race cat? No. It's all dependent on where you're at, brother. Speedy CPU, I appreciate the support, brother. There you go. SS Research Zeph is going to give you a good answer. And I trust that guy as far as I can throw him, and I'm so super strong that I could throw that guy halfway across the planet. Listen, Jeremy, I assure you, for $15 a month, I am the best value in tuning advice that's out there. And honestly, I mean, if it weren't for a love of trying to help spread knowledge on tuning and stuff like that, I would do away with it because it takes up a lot of my time. But I really love the fact that I can help people figure out how to tune. Because the thing that really bugs me is the guys that want to charge $400 for a video that doesn't teach you crap. Damn right, John Kelly. S10 says, my injectors are supposed to be 33 pounds. I had them flowed and they are 36. Honestly, hey, S10, take the original flow rate table that you have. What I like to do in that particular situation, highlight the whole table, put in 1.01 into the multiplier box, multiply it by 1.01 until you are at 36 at 58 pound injector pressure. That'll shift the whole table up. That will get you close enough in the ballpark to get you where you can tune everything properly. Okay, we are going to do, it is 8:53. Actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to wait. We'll wait a couple more minutes here. Right before we wrap it up, we will do the drawing for the shirt. Tell you what, I'm going to resume entries. If you have not joined the raffle for the shirt, we're giving away a Goat Rope Garage shirt right now. I have opened up entries again for it. So it is !raffle. Type that in as the message says right now. That's not how you do it. That's just a L. There it is. !raffle. Apparently I can't join my own raffle, but nonetheless. Oh, hey, I got a ticket. If I win, I promise you somebody else can get my shirt. Okay. Jimmy H says, I have the 3410, which would be the can one, right? Every now and then it will not read Go Blank at times. It could be my Bosch 4.9 or the actual. That's a tough one, Jimmy. You would probably be better off reaching out to AM on that one. I don't think that would necessarily be the sensor. Might be the gauge. Element 115, thank you for joining in. I appreciate it. Dude, Matt, that site, honestly, for $20 for 3 days access, what I like to do is, he's talking about the AC Delco site. I like to plan out what questions I need to look up on that, get like a week's worth of stuff, sign up for 3 days and just download all that crap. Grab Chrome, use Chrome to log into it, and then you can download the whole page. It will save the page with all the images and stuff on there. It's great. Hey man, I tell you what, Jeremy, the more you know about tuning, the more actually is better off. The more you know about engine building, the more that you will understand about tuning. Makes everything easier. Biker Boy, thank you for becoming a member. You got your sweet ass wrench and your green name tag. CS10, that's not good. If it's 33 in every box, unless are you running a return system with a manifold reference or boost reference fuel pressure regulator? Because if not, you probably need to look at scaling it properly, or else you're going to be fighting it. Hey, Jay Adams. John, appreciate your support for all this time. Everybody's just not John. All the patrons, everybody. You know, honestly, anybody that's here tonight, anybody that throws a thumbs up, you guys remember. Here it is. Here it is. This is the only thing. If you remember one thing from my live stream, I'm going to post a link right now. Tuning101.com. Just share that. Anybody asks you a question, Jeremy, thank you for signing up as a member. Anybody that asks a question about tuning, say, hey, go check out tuning101.com. That literally just takes you to the YouTube page for the garage. And say, hey, go dig through those videos. We got, I don't even know, 200 some videos on tuning right now. We're going to have more videos. I'm working on nitrous tuning videos. Francisco said, how about EOIT? There's going to be some EOIT stuff because people keep on asking about it. The more people ask about a certain subject, the more that I will get to that subject. EOIT is very good to learn about whenever you are getting into cam tuning. Yes. Atomic, it's good to see you again. Glad you joined the raffle. It is 8:57. I'm going to give you one more minute to join the raffle here. Jeremy is throwing out a sweet $20 burnout. There it is. There it is. Brian says $15 a month and a couple of Goat Rope Garage weekend marathons. You'll be tuning in no time. That's the goal. What Brian says is the exact goal. I want you guys to be able to walk away from this feeling confident and being able to, and honestly, it is not as complicated as everybody makes it out to be. That's what really bugs me, is that people wants to make this, oh, it's so complicated. So it's not that complicated. Man, it's airflow, spark, fuel. That is the three things that we're dealing with. It doesn't matter what all the other combination is behind that. It is all just about getting your airflow dialed in right and your fueling dialed in right. Then we touch on spark, and then after that you can do things like transmission. So I'm going to close the entries out. It is 8:58. I'm closing the entries out for the t-shirt raffle right now. I'll give you 30 more seconds. In fact, okay, we're going to take it. It's 8:58. We're going to take it till 9 o'clock. I don't care if somebody wants to start a Facebook page, but please let me know who is going to do it. I don't do Facebook, but I would be more than happy if you guys were to get together and share what your knowledge is, because it's all about sharing knowledge. That's all this is sharing knowledge, and that's what makes the nice thing about this whole thing with the live show is we bring in 80 people in here. People ask questions. Half of the questions get answered by other members, and so I show up on a Thursday night so I can see other people answer the questions, because people are learning, people are sharing information, because there's so much knowledge in this chat room right now that is way beyond me. And Lynn Twin showed up just in time. He's probably going to win this shirt. Watch him. Jonathan Robinson's got a raffle ticket coming in. It's 9 o'clock. You're right, Jeremy. Gen 5 is not that easy. I'm anxious to see Global B, the new process. Okay, we're closing entries. John, you have full approval to do it. Hold on, Zeph. SBC 86, you are the winner of a Goat Road Garage t-shirt. Congratulations. Congratulations to our winners tonight. As I said, email me at info@goatropegarage.com. I appreciate everybody taking the time to stop by the Thursday night show. We do the Thursday night show every Thursday. We missed it once in the last 10 months or so. And I think that was like on I don't know, Thanksgiving or something like that. We did it on a Friday. So, check out the Thursday night show. Check out the new, please do me a favor. Check out the new videos. Support the sponsors. I've got new videos out there. I appreciate the guys that are watching it because I watch the metrics on this stuff. You guys are watching more of the videos. I do appreciate that. I need more people to watch the videos. Honestly, we have set records. Every single Nitrous Express video that I have put out has broken the record for time watched. That's awesome, guys. I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's ranking really low. We are about to get into the actual tuning for nitrous. We're going to touch on tuning for nitrous for a dry system and a wet system. So if you want to know about tuning for nitrous, because listen, you guys want to know this, you don't want to miss out on this one. Check it out, because the nice thing about it is, I don't know if you know this, but Nitrous Express, they also own Snow Performance, which means we are going to be diving into the Stage 4 Snow Performance Methanol Injection Kit, which is mind-blowingly awesome. It is literally like a standalone injector controller for water methanol injection. I got a little bit of a hint for you. There's a good chance that we are going to be rocking the awesome LT4 Nitrous Express methanol injection lid, where we inject that stuff straight in. You guys ready to see the Super Auto pull the wheels off the ground? Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to crank that thing up until we either crap parts out all over the drag strip or we pull the front wheels off the ground. And then on top of it, very soon here, we are going to dive into, we're going to start out with a 50 shot. Actually, we got a 100 shot nitrous jet installed on Project Country Club. We're going to start out with a progressive up to 50. Then we're going to go up to 100. Then we're going to go up to 150. Then we're going to go up to 200. Then we're going to go up to 250. We're going to do it. You heard it here first. We're going to have a North Star XLR with a 250 progressive shot, just wrapping itself around a pole or something, or possibly getting a rock chip on a headlight and totaling it out. We'll talk about that here soon. There's going to be some silly stuff. Then on top of it, we are going to dive into the world of drag bikes, and we're going to look at standalone ECMs, doing nitrous control on 7 and 6 second drag bikes. We're going to be looking at some grudge race bikes. We're going to be looking at some pro ET bikes, pro street bikes. We're going to look at all kinds of stuff that circles back into tuning, and we're going to talk about how everything gets wrapped up together, and you will see how if you can tune this, you can tune that, you can tune that, you can tune that, everything is going to come full circle. So I don't know, I don't have to tell you guys, stick around. It's going to get very interesting this race season. You know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. ABT, always be tuning. Here we go. End screen.